Hello and welcome to the GX Podcast, the world's first podcast focused on government services and their future. In this podcast, we talk about everything related to government excellence, government service design and delivery, GovTech, and citizen engagement. Join us for insightful interviews and conversations every month. Visit us online at gx.ae. Hi, and welcome to this special episode of the GX podcast in a GX Now edition. Now, today we're talking to someone who was featured in the GX Now documentary. The documentary came out in January of 2021, and it was all about government experience with governments across the world. Today, I've got with me Jeyhun Salmanov, who is with the government of Azerbaijan. And I want to welcome him back on this platform to catch up on our conversation from the documentary and to see how things are going in Azerbaijan. Jeyhun, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan.
You are very welcome. And Jeyhun, it was a pleasure to work with you during the documentary. And I was in Baku, and it was incredible to see so many things happening in Azerbaijan. Let's catch up on the last 1 year since we met. First of all, let's talk about the documentary, GX Now. How was the reception of the GX Now documentary in Azerbaijan?
Firstly, let me thank the GIGS team and again for featuring the Asan service and our practices and activities of the State Agency for Public Services and Social Innovations under the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan. On digitalization in the GX Now documentary, we are grateful to the government of UAE for this invitation and personally to you, Mr. Khan, for implementing such a project. It's my pleasure to note that the documentary has been received with high appreciation in our country. The experiences of the world's leading countries in digitalization has been very interesting to watch, especially for the people working in our respective sectors. We as a state agency have used all of our media tools to highlight GX Now documentary. Moreover, the new news about the launch of the documentary and the importance of its main theme has been covered by prestigious public and private media channels, as well as news portals in Azerbaijan, and it was welcomed in our country shortly.
That is so nice to hear, and I can give a testimony to that we saw a lot of people watching the documentary when it was being launched, and we did screening. So thank you so much for your support in being part of this conversation about government experience. It's a new area, that it's a new word, it's a new term, but the idea is not new. It's an age-old idea about how do you change government services? How do you make them better? How do you deliver to everybody in your country? So let's talk about what is new with government services, government experience, government service excellence in Azerbaijan. What has been happening? I mean, we know the Asan Service Center has tremendous capability. Tell us a little bit more about some of those initiatives.
Okay, as we talked in the documentary, we have started with the one-stop shop concept of providing services to our citizens, and now it's an integrated and uniform manner of rendering services to our citizens. Now, the main shift is from documents to data, as well as from reactive to proactive government. Recently, we have launched new MyGov portal, which aims to personalize government services for the citizens. For instance, by using this platform, our citizens can get information about the document expiry dates, apply for services, and manage their data held by government. Furthermore, they can view the history of all requests made by different organizations to their personal and data, and can even require detailed information about the usage of data on the questions of who used and why used their data. Let's say that it's a personal cabinet of our citizens in the government. Recently, we implemented single sign-on platform, which allows our users to be authorized in different government systems easily. Now they don't need to save several usernames and passwords. Just registering in one single sign-on platform, they can get access more than 10 information systems of different government organizations. It simplified their access to our government services. In general, we have put special focus upon the digitalization issues and data privacy issues and the issues like this to move from traditional services to digitalization and automation of services. Until today, more than 1,000 services have been digitalized by different government organizations of our country. We have already come up with more than 45 substantial e-projects, including Assam Finance, Assam Pay, e-social, Assam Visa, e-agro, and also different systems in order to effectively manage COVID-19 activities in our country.
Looks like the focus that Asan has taken and the government of Azerbaijan has taken is to number one, automate, and I'm just echoing what you've said, is to automate as many services as possible. And you mentioned there's almost 1,000 different services that can be utilized through the Asan platform. Then you talked about personalizing data, for example, personalizing services. That's one part of it, where users can go and personalize what they need and also control their data and view who has used their data and why have they used their data. This is new not just in Azerbaijan, but many governments are not doing this, and I think it's really a forward way of looking into how to manage data, how to ensure privacy of data, and give users the control of data. They can control this data. So I really love that approach. I think it's brilliant. So Jeyhun, thank you for telling me a lot about what's happening in Azerbaijan with service digitization, with automation. And you mentioned more than 1,000 different services are being digitized
Yes.
by the government of Azerbaijan, which is really a future forward looking way of looking into service delivery. What about the last 1 year throughout COVID? What new things have happened during COVID?
I would like to mention that our government implemented very effective ways for fighting against COVID-19 pandemic, including several digital solutions we have implemented in order to tackle with this worldwide problem. Asan Service, our state agency, has been one of the actors and on the forefront of the fight against COVID-19 with its smart and innovative solutions. From the very beginning of the special quarantine regime, the necessary data analytics was conducted by Asan and the upcoming steps were decided upon. Different new measures we introduced, such as digitalization of several new services. The most important thing is that the government maintained the functioning of Asan service centers during the lockdown period for rendering the most urgent and necessary services to our citizens. The number of the citizens approaching to the centers was regulated with the help of digital items, digital tools like online queuing system, and Asan website, Asan mobile app, as well as via the Asan call center. Our workers moved from the office regime to home office regime and started to work from our houses in order to stop interaction between different people, between our workers, in order to minimize the risks. The call center of the Asan service operated as a means of information transmission during the time of informing the citizens about the currently provided services. Furthermore, when the special quarantine regime was declared in Azerbaijan to decrease the possibility of transmission and hereby the number of cases, the need for controlling the movement of citizens emerged. Therefore, the system for obtaining permits and monitoring during the implementation of the special quarantine regime was introduced jointly by the Government Development Center, our subordinate, and then relative government organizations, different government organizations. The system was developed in a way that it managed to operate without technical drawbacks, even at periods of the highest load. Yeah. The system operated in two different versions. The first version was SMS permission system, was for regulating individual citizens' movement when they left their homes in times of necessary needs. The second version was a permission system for the workers of such organizations that functioned during the special quarantine regime. It should be noted that the system has been researched by several CIS countries. It has also captured the attention of government of UAE and Turkey. This system also has been implemented in the Turkestan region of Kazakhstan. And we think that these systems help us to tackle against COVID-19 and simplify our measures. It simplified our processes during this COVID-19 pandemic period, during the quarantine regime. We think that it was very successful systems of our government during this period.
One of the things that you mentioned is so simple but so effective, which is the SMS permission. The SMS,
Yes.
through SMS you go and you people can ask for permission to travel, to leave the home, and so on. And the applications of this are for also people who do not have smartphones. And we always talk about this
Yes.
a challenge of inclusivity, where you have to include people who don't have access to the internet into things that technology can do for them. And I think it's a brilliant idea and initiative that you have been very successful with. And then I can naturally assume that the success of these platforms is now rolling out, and your Azerbaijan is also giving vaccinations right now. The healthcare system is doing that, and so everything is integrated, I think, digitally, and you're tracking all that information and data. Is that correct?
Yes, it's totally correct. We integrated all these systems to each other. And now, for instance, in order to implement vaccination, of course, it's impossible to all our citizens. And for that, we need to choose people who we are going to vaccinate first and the second and the third levels.
Yeah.
And our data analytics help us to identify, for instance, the people above 65,
Yeah.
the people with these different diseases which needs to be vaccinated first, and etc. And these integrated systems help us a lot during this period. And even we started to to reduce these measures, quarantine regime, and etc. Even now, these systems helps us to come up with right ideas, with right solutions.
Yeah.
I think that it was very helpful for our government.
Excellent. Jeyhun, finally, I know we're short on time today. Tell us finally, what is your recommendation to other governments that will see the film GX Now, or who will listen to this interview? What lessons can they learn, or what is your recommendation to other governments that are not there yet?
Firstly, our advice for the governments can be focusing primarily on the process simplification of rendering services by government organizations before automation and other activities. It will help them to save resources such as time and cost while rendering the government services.
Yeah.
Whether offline or online, it doesn't matter, as well as it will simplify the digitalization process, as I mentioned. Before the rendering the services, we need to simplify services in order to reach the citizen satisfaction rate. Also for digitalization as well. There is also one more key point for achieving better government experiences. You might have excellent infrastructure, well-developed software, highly skilled employees, and rich functional resources. Whereas if the digital literacy among the population is low, it's almost impossible to achieve your goals. Therefore, the citizens should be educated, and the governments ought to take all 8 segments of the society in accounting while preparing such awareness-raising programs. It should go parallel, digitalization and trainings, education of population, and other activities. Also, it's not a secret that the digital literacy can be formulated with the help of the exchange of experiences. Yeah. And the best practices among the governments. For the advanced digital services all across the globe, we as the world governments should act in solidarity. This GX Now documentary project itself is a very prominent example for the awareness raising about the government services and digitalization, we think. Finally, I will make the last point that all the stakeholders should take action rather than putting the responsibility only on governments. Governments are the main stakeholder, but they are not only stakeholder of this process. Private organizations, citizens should also carry their burden and work hand in hand for the improvements the government experience in this sector. No improvement can be accomplished without the cooperation of all the stakeholders. In our experience, we saw that when we put all together and when we act together with private sector, with governments, with citizens, the result is very successful. That's why we need to work in harmony with all stakeholders of this process.
Absolutely.
I think.
No, you've said it right. You've said it right. I mean, collaboration, working with each other, it's an education at every level is so important.
Yeah.
Jehun, I cannot thank you enough for being part of the film and sharing the story of the success that Azerbaijan has had with the Asan service centers. And so in the documentary, you shared that journey. We've shown that in the documentary, but also sharing your thoughts about COVID and some of the success factors that you've used to tackle this issue. Thank you so much for your time today. And thank you so much from the GX team to you and to the government of Azerbaijan for taking part in the film and the podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Khan, again for this such a project and to UAE government as well. And we think that this kind of initiatives, this kind of projects increase the awareness of government digitalization, government simplification, government services, and will help all governments to improve their processes, services as well. Thank you very much again
You're
for this
very
kind of.
welcome. Thank you so much, and you take
Thank
care.
you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.